Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Nathan here with another economic ramble on what I'm hearing in my own banking industry and in my own economy. You'll see the title of the video. It is No One Wants to Work Anymore. I think that's a very common thing that we've all heard over the past, ever since COVID really. We've heard all about this labor shortage and especially business owners in my own community. Everyone talks about how hard it's been to find reliable workers and hire. And obviously there's the argument that maybe, my generation, we're just all lazy and we just sit at home and don't want to work anymore. But there's also the other side of the equation too. I guess at least in my own local economy that I see. I obviously work with some of these business owners on some things and talk to them on a daily basis. But not only that, I also see the other side of the equation as well. I see the workers come in, they all cash their checks, they do their own banking, and they have their own finances too, who I also help with. So I kind of see both sides of the equation, at least in my local economy here, and things that have played out. And obviously with inflation, we've seen the cost of everything go up exponentially. You talk about food, energy, housing, those main things, just those three have gone up at least 25-30% over the past. Obviously you can point to the CPI, which is finicky in its own way. Homeowners equivalent rent, the housing metric that they use, is a sham in my opinion, where they just take a survey of people and ask them, if you were to rent out your house, what would you rent it out for? What would you ask for? Instead of just taking a look at real rent prices at Zillow, Redfin, any of these other prices. I mean, rents across the board are almost up 20-25% at least. And this depends also on where you're at. Where I'm at least, I'm in California here, and rent was already very expensive in general before that we had our own housing shortages, at least in my area here and most of California. It's very hard to find anything at all, period, and that's somewhat affordable. But after the pandemic, what happened was the cost just went up so much, versus the wages did go up a little bit as well, but not nearly enough compared to the cost of energy, food, and housing, essentially, as far as what I'd seen. And it's almost, even now, it's like $2,000 for a studio, $2,000, $2,200 for studio, one bedroom. If you want a 2-bedroom apartment, you're looking at almost $2,500-$2,600 for these. This isn't even a nice area. These aren't even nice areas, essentially. And it's basically a service economy where I live. It's, like I've said in past videos or so, it's mostly a lot of restaurants, art galleries, even what I do as a bank. There's a couple of those jobs in industries around here, but yeah, obviously no manufacturing, nothing like that around here. But yeah, back to the point. All these workers, and a lot of these workers, even before the pandemic, who I would work with and see, there was a large population of people who would they would work almost 2-3 jobs in my area just to make ends meet, essentially. And maybe by working 2 or 3 jobs, they could not only make a living, but maybe save up a little bit of their income at the very least. And this is before the pandemic, before, like what I just talked about, the price increases of everything, the exponential food, energy, housing going up exponentially versus their incomes. And it's just gotten worse and worse. And what I've seen is most of these people who I'm even thinking about and talking to you guys about right now have just left. And especially in California here, we talk about the Great Migration. We talk about everyone leaving to Texas, especially during COVID. The equation no longer worked anymore with the cost increases of everything for these workers who would essentially make a lot of these businesses run almost. And they were all leaving. I saw them, they were all leaving, and they were all telling me the same things. I can't afford to live here anymore. I'm working my you-know-what off, and I still can't even afford rent. Or if I do afford rent, I'm living paycheck to paycheck for what? I'm working 60, 80 hours a week for what? for nothing. It's a beautiful area here. But I can't enjoy any of these luxuries or anything. I can't enjoy anything. I can't even I can't even enjoy 15 minutes of peace because I'm just working all the time, and when I'm not, I'm sleeping, and it's just not a good life to live, essentially. So that's what we've seen, not just in my area, but obviously kind of like on a larger scale, California as a whole. Everyone leaving California, or maybe leaving at cheaper parts in California, at least maybe kind of like Bakersfield area, Sacramento, Visalia, in general. But most of these big cities, and including where I'm at, it's just the equation for the service economy, as far as these restaurants or any of these other kind of small shops that are paying like 15 to 20 bucks an hour almost. The equation just no longer works. All these workers are leaving somewhere else. They're leaving out of state. They're leaving to cheaper places in California. And this exacerbates everything, because then, these businesses, they have to compete for a smaller population of labor that was there. They have to maybe raise the wages that they were giving out. Almost everyone had to raise wages over the past couple of years. And employment, human capital, that's the most expensive thing as far as what I've seen. And that's the most expensive thing in almost any business you'll see, just paying for workers, essentially. So obviously your costs go up, so do your prices. And then we're kind of where we're at now, where even though we're a very popular vacation destination, I'm seeing things slow down a lot, especially talking to these restaurants and other business owners, galleries, whatever you name it, or other kind of tourist activity kind of businesses. And they're all talking about how slow it has been over the past, even towards the end, maybe October of last year, October of the kind of middle of the fourth quarter last year, things were not, you would expect the fourth quarter to be really good, but it just hasn't been living up. I've heard the same things as far as sales being down versus from 2022 to 2023, sales being down, and to where we are now, and to where it's quarter one is usually, obviously we were past the January part. January is usually always the slowest month, and I'd say most businesses or economies, January is usually a slow month where you don't see as much demand. But like I said, just comparing this year to last year, it's been the same trend, slower and slower. And these businesses, a lot of them were already just trying to bank on a good fourth quarter, a good end of the year last year, which just I don't think came for a lot of these businesses. And it's a struggle for everyone. But yeah, like I said, that's my perspective. There's two sides to every single equation that we see. Every local economy is different. I'd love to hear what you guys see in your own economies, and try and see both sides. There are people in my generation who are lazy, and I won't deny that, but people want to work. It's just, the equation no longer works in a lot of places, especially here in California. The equation no longer works. Even if you work 2-3 jobs, you are still not able to afford a studio apartment that's like $2,100 a month. So until that problem is solved, then I think this will continue, at least in my own local economy. But hey, what do I know? Not much. But hey, I'm trying. All right. Look forward to hearing what you guys have to say, and see you guys next time.